Time to shake them off. Welcome to Wake Up Happy Sis, the show that jumpstarts your day with a bang. We're strolling down these self-care streets as we navigate the maze of wellness and healing. We're helping you live happy, healed, and whole. And we do it all with a hearty dose of belly laughs for good measure. Stay tuned and get ready to wake up happy, sis. Welcome, everybody. It's your host, Leanne Dose. This is the Wake Up Happy Sis show. We're broadcasting live on KCCR Cityscape Radio, where we're changing the narrative for our people because we're telling our stories our way. And I want to welcome you back to your daily dose of inspiration, empowerment, and motivation. Today, we are really getting into it. Y'all know I love all things health, all things wellness. And today we're talking about embracing emotional wellness. We're diving deep into the heart of our emotions, uncovering the secrets to managing our emotions, and exploring how to live a life that's filled with harmony and joy. And guess what? You're definitely not alone in this journey, because I am joined by two phenomenal women who have transformed their lives and are here to share their wisdom with us. First, we're going to have Dr. Nicole Perrotte, and I hope I said that right, because I will butcher a name, but not on purpose. Board certified internal medicine doctor who's turned certified coach, and she's going to share her insights on overcoming burnout and finding balance. And we also have Jennifer Dove, an empowerment champion and author, who's going to guide us on how to live fearlessly authentic lives. So you guys already know that y'all are in for a treat, okay? So grab your cup of morning Joe, tea, whatever you want in that cup. I'm not here to judge you about that, okay? But open your hearts, open your minds, and let's get ready. Oh, there is my favoriteest co-host, Rhonda. Yes. And get ready to have an awesome time with us, y'all.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes. So, how's everybody doing?
Good.
Anybody got any fabulous, fancy plans for the weekend?
More beach for me.
I don't even want to talk to you. Okay.
I'm included. Everyone. Anyone.
No. Oh, excuse me. Everyone except those who are on vacation, in some fabulous place that I am not at, with beach and water and all those fabulous.
So you gonna hate all your life or just today?
Just today. At 11 o'clock, the hate stops. And then I will go back to being like, go ahead, friend, on vacation, because I am not there yet.
I'm not ready for haters this morning. It's too early in Mexico.
There you go. Y'all see what I have to deal with here. You see what I have to do.
I'm here for it. Bring it.
So, ladies, why don't you guys introduce yourself to us? We'll start with you, Dr. Pro. Tell us a little bit about you and what brings you here today.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here with you this morning, as well as your lovely audience. I'm a physician with over 17 years of clinical experience, and I started delving into health and wellness about 3-4 years ago. It started with my kids when I was, and you know what I'm talking about, you try to do everything at the same time, work,
Yes.
being a mother, being a wife, and doing all the things, doing too much, stretching yourself, not having boundaries, and so ended up being burnt out. And as a result of that, that started my journey into health and wellness because I knew that was not something I wanted to keep doing. It was not a good place to be. So I started looking for how can I fix this? How can I make my life look better on this side as it did on the other side? And that led me on this journey where I am now with health and wellness, finding what brings me joy, making sure that I am taking care of me as well. And here I am to share some of those tidbits with your audience.
Yes, I love that, because when I tell you, once you have kids, a partner, kids, whatever, it's like, so my life doesn't exist anymore. So now I got to do all the things. And of course, we leap into it and we're going to do all the things.
Yes.
baby. I
Exactly.
totally get that overwhelm and being just totally burned out on everything. So yes, I definitely get you. I'm there and I'm here for all the tips. I love some good wellness tips and especially about our emotional wellness. I feel like now is such a volatile time in this country and there's
Mm.
so much going on and tension is at a highest point and we need ways that we can deal with all the things that are going on in our personal lives but even in our society and our communities that are affecting us and affecting our children and our families. So we are so thankful that you're here to share with us today. And Jennifer, introduce yourself.
Good morning. I am Jennifer Dove. I am a consultant. I'm a speaker. I am a certified life coach. I am author of the book Ready for More, A Woman's Guide to Becoming Fearlessly Authentic. I specifically work with women, high achieving women over the age of 40, who have reached a point in their lives where they're like, you know what? I have done all the things. I have reached what everybody says is the goal where I'm supposed to be. I have the life that everybody thinks I should have. And now I am like, what in the world am I doing? I don't even want to do this anymore. And they feel like, you know what? I'm stuck. I
Mhm.
can't say anything because I will appear ungrateful if I say anything. People are going to be like, girl, I wish I had your life. So, and I talk about this in my book. I know this firsthand because I had a corporate job, was a vice president, had been married to my college sweetheart for almost 20 years. We had two beautiful children, a daughter and a son. From the outside, it was like fantastic. On the inside, I was absolutely miserable. I hated my job. That marriage was barely holding on. It was salvaged, but it was barely holding on at that time. And I wasn't showing up for my kids, but I was more concerned about how I looked on the outside than
Yeah.
how I really was. And so many of us women do that. And so I'm just here today to maybe just offer some tips or some advice to let women know we don't have to do that anymore.
Can you see this question mark?
Put it down in front
Why
of your
you telling my life, Jennifer?
look. Yeah,
Is that
you
your
gotta
life,
put it in front of
Sharonda?
you. Look, if anybody who is familiar with our show, every episode is Sharonda's life. Okay, I don't. Sharonda and I are so in sync. She'd be like, "Can you get out of my life?" We're just sharing our life, and we're inviting others to come into our life with us because we talk real from our own personal perspectives and standpoints. And I think that's why people resonate with what we do so much because it's real when you think, oh, I'm supposed to be at the top of my career. I should be happy. I should have all the things, and all the things do not equal all the happiness
Mm.
Mm-mm.
because we focus so much on what others' expectations are for us, right? That we're like, huh, what do I even want for myself? What do I like? Especially once you have kids and you become an empty nester and they're gone. You've done your job, you've raised your kids, but your whole being was wrapped up in them. What do you do after that? How do you manage that? Because you ain't used to spending that much time with your husband or your partner, and they start to get on your nerves, and you like,
Or you're not used to spending that much time with
With
yourself.
yourself.
mm, yes. And you don't even know what you like anymore.
You do
How do
not.
you deal with this new feeling of restlessness or these feelings that I have of, I, like we said, I honestly don't know what to do with my life. I don't know how to find happiness. But that's what we're here to help you with. So the first thing I want to talk about is kind of just going over what emotional wellness is for those in the listening audience. Because to me, your emotional wellness is really a crucial component to our overall sense of well being because it's going to reflect the quality of how we live our inner lives. Like you said, everything's looking great from the outside in, but from the inside out, you were miserable, right? But we're also looking at how do we create a sense of satisfaction and fulfillment in our daily lives. And that emotional wellness is a big part of that. It's really about acknowledging and respecting your feelings, understanding what our emotional triggers are. And a lot of times that's where we fail. I was watching TikTok, and this guy he said, if I ask you what's your love language, he said, people can rattle that off all day. But if I ask you what are your trauma responses, your triggers, it's usually silence. People aren't aware. They talk about their love language, but what did he call it? Their trauma language.
Mm.
And I was like, huh. Because who are you when you're stressed? Who are you when you are going through and experiencing trauma? How do you respond? What are the things that are triggering you? And how do we effectively manage that process and manage the only thing we have control over, which is us in our feelings. So to me, that's really kind of the core of what emotional wellness is. And it's something that we're always striving for, that harmony. And I don't necessarily like the word balance, because I think true balance is really hard to achieve. That's why I say harmony, because even if things are out of whack, we're always trying to get to a level of harmony in our lives. At least I am. I just want to wake up happy every day. Hence the name of the business, Wake Up Happy, because that's what I realized I wanted in life. And that statement resonates with so many people, because that's what we're trying to do. So what is your vision or your view of emotional wellness in your life? Want to start, Jennifer?
Well, for me, it's pretty simple, but it took me a while to get to this. And for me, emotional wellness is when you are able to manage your emotions rather than your emotions managing you. And what I mean by that is that it's okay to have anger or fear or sadness or joy. All of the emotions are necessary, and they are here for us because they're indicators of what we need to do, what our next move needs to be. But we need to recognize that, feel what we feel, and then create a plan to move forward, to move on. What happens is when we get stuck in those emotions, in those feelings. Y'all know people that's still holding a grudge to somebody, still mad at somebody from 12 years ago, right?
I
Yeah.
still have people I don't like from elementary school, if I'm gonna be honest with myself.
Do you know what it takes to keep that going for that long? That is allowing your emotions to manage you. So to
Yeah.
me, emotional wellness is understanding, feel what I feel in this moment, and that's okay. But now let's move past, because we have things to do and we don't want to be, people want to know, why is she mad all the time? She's angry all the time. She's angry about something that happened in 5th grade. Okay. And now she's 42.
And
And
how
every
crazy
time she
does that
sees that girl
sound?
on Facebook or at the Walmart, she's mad all over again.
She
Like,
talking
we
about
have
you,
to learn to
Lynn.
manage our emotions.
I see her talking about me in my very own face, but it's okay. But that's true though, right? If you really think about it, I'm 52 years old. Why would I still be harboring something that happened when I was maybe 10? Right? Why are we letting things that happen? The way that I look at trauma, right? Bullying, anything that's happened to you, is what we tend to do is what I call lock it in a little lockbox in our heart and our soul somewhere. And we think that means we're healed because I locked it away and I ain't going to look at it again. And what happens is you haven't healed. The pain is still there. The triggers are still there. And something happens and all of a sudden it all explodes because we never dealt with those feelings. And we don't know how to process. And so Tanya, just like she said, she's not good. She panics and then just looking to just go. But let me explain my thoughts and how I've gotten through a lot of the traumas that I grew up with. Is I had to learn that I am accountable for me,
Right.
that I cannot let other people's trauma other people's hurt, pain, whatever, spill over and control my life. So what I would say to you, Tanya, is you have to sit in those feelings.
Mm-hmm.
2024, we're going into the storm because that's the fastest way to get through the storm. If you run from the storm, it's going to catch up with you. It's going to overtake you. And then you're going to be overwhelmed all over again. But when you actually march into that storm, sit through those feelings, it's going to be painful. It's going to hurt. It's going to be scary sometimes. But just like Jennifer said, you have to sit with it. You have to process those feelings because that's the only way you're going to get to the other side. And talk to a professional. One of the things I think we stop doing is we think that this was me when I was younger. I could psychoanalyze myself. What do I need to go talk to a doctor? Obviously, you can't because you're still mad about stuff from 5th grade. In my 20s, I was still mad. If I had seen Gwen, it would have been on site.
Because crazy don't know they crazy. Ain't that crazy?
They don't. They don't. And how crazy is that was still my response to something 10, 15 years later. You're mad about things that kids do. He was a bully, yes. But why is that controlling my life into my 20s and into my 30s? And once I really sat with that and realized that I had to take control of my life and where I wanted it to be and who I wanted to be, that changed everything for me, because then I wasn't afraid to go and seek assistance and talk to a counselor and a therapist and get to the root of my issues. So Tanya, I would say you need to sit with that and you need to find someone who can help you, because if you're always panicked whenever something goes wrong, you're never going to take the time to process that because you're in survival mode. We're trying to get you out of survival mode into thriving mode. And so what about you, Dr. Perrotte? Because I don't went on a whole little tangent. I'm sorry.
That's fine. You're fine. And I agree with a lot of what was said between you and Jennifer. It's processing those emotions. It's being self-aware, actually identifying how you feel, whether it's anger, whether it's disappointment, whether it's sadness, and really sitting with it as uncomfortable as it can get. That is the only way you can actually heal, because we carry those things around, we bottle them around up, we put it under the bed, we don't think about it, and we carry it on for decades.
Yeah.
And it's not serving us, it doesn't help us. So we lash out in response because we haven't processed our emotions and we're being triggered by things that we should have processed many years ago. But once you're able to understand what it is that is bothering you and taking that step to be self aware and processing it, whether it's with a therapist or on your own, but just sitting with it and acknowledging it for what it is, it often feels better. It often doesn't become as painful when it happens again. And there's just no way to escape emotions. It's part of the human journey, right? It's essentially a combination of good and bad. That's what happens.
Yeah.
If we were all having this great kumbaya life, I don't think we'd be here. We would not be talking about this at all. But it's a combination of good and bad that's happening, which is how we end up having these emotions with these responses. So it's a matter of understanding where they're coming from, what they are, first of all, identifying them, processing them, so you could get to the other side and actually develop the tools to know, okay, I'm sad. This is what triggers me. How do I fix it? What makes me better? And go from there.
Yes, I love that. We really do have to take a look at ourselves and realize what makes you happy, what brings you joy, what is going to help you get past the situations, because life is going to life. That's one thing you can be assured of, is life is going to life, change is going to happen, and there will be negatives that happen. But what I try to cling to are the positives. I try to keep a positive outlook on the things and look at what are the lessons I can learn from the things that aren't going right in my life. I think it's about how you position things in your life, right? I can either look at all the negatives that's happening and focus on those negatives, or I can choose joy. I can choose happiness. I can choose healing, which means I have a growth mindset a growth outlook, that I'm still open to all the good in my life to come in and overtake the negative, because there are so many things every day in your life to be grateful for. The fact that you woke up and opened your eyes this morning is a blessing that some people didn't get. So Tanya, I know she's got some comments that she's saying she's really dealing with a lot, not having a lot of family support. Well, you know what, Tanya? That's why you have Wake Up Happy Sis, because what I'm building is a community of women to help us get through these things so nobody feels like they have to travel this journey alone, right? Because that's what you need. You need your good girlfriends who are going to tell you the truth, but who are also going to hold space for you. They're going to let you be weak. They're going to let you feel broken, because it's okay to be broken. It's not okay to remain broken. Things break us and they affect us to our core, but that doesn't mean that you have to stay broken. And that's where your friends come in. That's where having a coach, a life coach, having a therapist, you might have a life coach and a therapist because their focuses are different. Right? So while I may not be the one that's going to help you dig through your history and your past, that's what your therapist is going to help you do, is work through that trauma in your past. But I can help you, like me or other people like me, I can help you with a path forward. Where are we now and where do we want to get? And let's chart that course. Right? They definitely, for me, they work together. So if you don't have a support system, that to me is one of the first things that I look for, is who are the people around me that can help me, that can help me process, that can help me think through, because sometimes you're too close to your own trauma. That you just need somebody who can think about it in a different light and be like, hey, what about this? Let's try this. Yes, your good girlfriends will laugh, cry, and keep it 100. They're gonna keep it a buck. Leanne, that's not good. You're doing something wrong. Because I'm not perfect. None of us is perfect. I do have some ain't shit ways. I can be very petty. I can be. But I'm working on me. I'm always, a work in progress. But if you keep trying me, I feel like you don't really want to do that. I'm trying to live in the light that God gave me, and you try and take me back over there. I'm not trying to go back over there. But we all have a choice to make in our life and how we're going to let these things affect us. So let me ask y'all a question, because I love questions. So for a person that wants to start practicing emotional awareness, they really want to start taking control of their emotions and managing, what's the easy way for people to start? And anybody can jump in.
Change your surroundings first. If you're in the circle, and one, you're the smartest one, two, they're the people that you're hanging around with you see the shystiness, you see and feel that those fiery darts that they keep throwing at you. Change your circle. You are not beholden to keep hanging on to people that are trying to hurt you. It's like trying to pick up a cat that's busy trying to scratch you and bite you while you're trying to pick them up and stuff. Can you clap your fan for me, ma'am, please?
I can. You ain't said nothing but a thing. You ain't said nothing but a thing.
Thank you very much. And I'm talking to you, Tanya. Change your circle and stop giving yourself excuses about, oh, I don't have family support. Let me tell you something. From my Army days, and I was far away from my family was who I was with the most. That became my family. And blood ties do not make a family. You can make the family with the people that are around you. You have everything you need to be successful. Keep on tuning in to us. We'll get you right. We'll get you right. But change your circle and change your mind, because those things are free.
And I think another thing too is for Tanya or for anyone else, we have to look at our self-talk. We have to look at what we're saying to ourselves. I don't have this. I can't have this. I don't know how to do this. This is not available for me. first of all, really sit with yourself and say, that's how I'm feeling in this moment. But the thing about it is, I can create a circle of people around me that support me. I just have to do the work and find those people. I can get away from being trapped by these emotions all the time. A lot of times, I think it starts with just self-talk. How are you speaking to yourself? What are you saying to yourself in your mind? You have to be real with yourself. If you are talking negatively to yourself, then the outcome is going to be negative. If you ever heard, if you put garbage in, garbage is going to come out. So I think that you really have to be mindful, because the life that you're living right now today is based on the decisions that you made yesterday. And if you made those decisions with a negative mindset, that's why you're in the space that you're in today. So you have to recognize, if I change my self-talk and my language today, then that creates a better tomorrow for me, where I can start living a more positive life and getting the things that I need to live the life of joy and fulfillment that I really, really want.
Absolutely.
That is so true. And to piggyback off of what Jennifer just said, Tanya, the other thing that you need to focus on is, who are these people around you? The 5 people around you, we often say, reflect you, is a combination of the people around you. So you're saying that, yes, you're away from family, but you don't have anyone around you. The people around you are somewhat contributing to how you're feeling as well. That, combined with the thoughts that you're having, are putting you in the current situation that you are. And thinking about, where do you want to be tomorrow? You have to decide, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And it doesn't have to be a massive decision, just one simple step forward. That's it. Just one step forward. And one step every day, whether it's deciding to not go out with these people, whether it's staying home and just processing my feelings, whether it's trying something new, whether it's signing up to get a therapist to help me process some of these things that are going on. It's just one step. And once you take these multiple one steps, give yourself a few weeks, a few months, you'll look back and go, oh, that was not so hard. It was doable. Look at where I am right now. Just one step. You just have to start and not give yourself excuses or an out. You just have to start.
Absolutely. So Leanne has this inner Ricky Bobby thing going on and stuff. That's some straight up haters that she likes to slap down in front of me, and I'm with her because I'm here for this for her and stuff. Right?
Yes,
So
inner hater.
absolutely.
My inner hater's name is Ricky Bobby, and you have to name it, because you have to know the enemy that you're fighting, right? And what I would say, Tanya, and anybody, right? This is for anybody who is feeling that same way. Start by this. Is what I want you to do. I want you to write a love letter to yourself, where you are pouring nothing but love, light, and positivity into yourself. And every day for the next 30 days, Tanya, I want you to write 3 things that you are grateful for at the end of your day. Just 3. Just 3. And if you start that and you start shifting your language from negative to positive, I'm telling you, just making one little shift like that can change your perspective and your outlook, because what you focus on is what you manifest, is what amplifies and magnifies in your life. And right now it's hard to focus on positive because you feel so much negative, but we have to make a decision. Like I said, I've had times where I thought about committing suicide, where I'm like, everything in my life is going wrong. I had to make a choice to think differently, to act differently, to move differently. That means I did have to move some people out of my life. And that's the hardest part, because I didn't want to lose those people, but they were not helping my mental state. When you're around a bunch of negatives, all you can get. Wait, we got to do station identification. We are already late. So you're tuned into the Wake Up Happy Sis show on KCCR Cityscape Radio, where we're changing the narrative for our Black and brown ladies because we're telling our story our way. We'll be right back after this brief word. Imagine a book that isn't just pages and words, but a journey of triumph, resilience, and empowerment. Welcome to the Wake Up Happy Sis Anthology, a collection of stories from Black women who turn trials into triumphs. Each chapter is more than a story. It's a piece of a larger narrative that speaks to the heart of every Black woman. It's about overcoming, thriving, and finding joy in life's journey. This anthology is a celebration, a testament to the strength and spirit of women who faced life head on. Their stories are an inspiration, an invitation for you to rise, to heal, and to connect. Be a part of this extraordinary journey. Find your inspiration, your community, your voice in the Wake Up Happy Sis Anthology. Your story matters, and it's time the world hears it. Join us, share, inspire, empower, and always wake up happy, sis.
So I was reading the comments, and Tanya, let me take another excuse away from you. First one is that people, your relatives that are not close to you, I'm taking that one away from you because you can make your family where you are. The second thing I'm going to take away from you is where you currently are and your financial status right now. Do you know that there are free places that you can go that doesn't cost you any money? All you got to do is just show up. This can be online, tapping into this podcast like you're doing, or getting outside of that funky neighborhood that you're in and going to a park, a library, grocery store, a music store, a museum, so many different things. You have a choice to make. Either you stay where you are and keep feeling the way that you are, or just go take a walk in a park. Yes. Be open to the goodness that life has to offer. I am from the inner city of Detroit, Michigan. Detroit, one of the murder capitals of the world back in the 90s. Ma'am, your blessing is on the outside of your comfort zone, which is where you are currently are. Get outside.
That's a moment right there. That's a moment right there, because you have to get out of that comfort zone. And that's for everybody. You have to get out of your comfort zone. Your comfort zone is what's keeping you stuck. Because even though it's negative over there, it's very familiar. It feels very safe because I know this devil. I know this evil. But how can you know the beauty of healing, of harmony in your life if you do not seek it out? It's not just going to come to you. It requires work and effort on your part. And when you put in the work and the effort, you will be rewarded. And it may not be a today reward or a tomorrow reward. You cannot expect that it's going to happen overnight. Especially if you're in your 40s or so, you had a lot of years with that trauma, with that pain, right? But then we think, oh, it's supposed to be gone overnight. No, your healing is a journey. There's not a destination. It's a journey. Because you're always going to be healing, because there's always something that can trigger you back to those feelings. But the goal of healing is, I now know how to manage my way through this. I no longer get overwhelmed by it and consumed by it and get lost in it. I now know how to fight my way back out of it. I suffer from depressive episodes. Have I ever been clinically diagnosed? No, but we all do. We all have times where life just kicks our ass and we need help. But I've learned how to navigate through that, and I do not sit in it anymore. I've learned how to feel my feelings, go through that and process and figure out what's triggering me to feel this way, and then figure out what do I need to do to move forward. It's always about creating that plan. Create the plan, stick to the plan, follow the plan. Most of us don't have a plan. That's our problem. We just kind of are going through life, You have look, before we had phones, if you wanted to take a trip, you was on MapQuest like everybody else.
I know that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Them out, looking at that map, trying to figure out how to get from here to there.
Mm-hmm.
We have to do the same thing with our life. Where is your roadmap for your life? Who do you want to be at the end of the day? How do you want to feel? What is your life going to look like? These are things that I have in my mind vividly, because if I can't see it, I can't see it. I cannot realize it. If you can't see it, you cannot realize it. So that
Mm-hmm.
me is one of the main things that I do, is I try to envision this happier life, this happier place. And then I map out, what do I really need to do to get from where I am today to that point.
Yeah. And Tanya, if I may, one of the things that you sharing in the comments is that you feel ashamed to say what your truth is. And I want to talk a little bit about shame, because so many of us feel shame. I, I just want to say this to you. Shame lies when we think that we're the only one that's experiencing something.
That part.
Right? Shame lies in, oh my gosh, this is happening to me, or I'm doing this, or I should be doing this. The way you get rid of shame is to do exactly what you're doing. You got to bring that stuff to light. And so what also happens is, when you have community, when you have women like women on this podcast to tell you, girl, listen, I did the same thing. I felt the same way. We have to start telling the truth to each other as Black women, rather than saying, oh, girl, really? You felt like that? That's terrible. Rather than saying, girl, I was just feeling like that last Tuesday. Right?
Yes.
You get rid of shame by saying what it is, and that's what you're doing. Do not
Absolutely.
feel ashamed because of the place that you're in right now, because the fact that you're able to say it lets us know that you're on a path to changing. You're on a path to growing. You are acknowledging this is a process.
I feel a breakthrough coming through for her.
Yes. And that's where it starts. It starts with us being honest and truthful with ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first
And that
person
is
you have to be honest with. Go ahead, Dr. Perrotte. Sorry.
that is so key, because the community tends to want to cloak, keep it under cloak and dagger, put it
Yeah.
under the cover, don't talk about it, because, oh, we're not supposed to do that. We're supposed to be strong. We're supposed to have all the answers. We're not supposed to crack. We're supposed to do all the things and just keep going and keep adding to the load, regardless of how we feel, when that is not true. And so we also have to break that mold as well, that we can't just keep expecting each other to keep doing things and not looking after themselves. So breaking that secrecy, letting it out and talking to others, finding that community where you could talk is really, really vital.
Yes. Yes. And this is the last thing that I want to say. You have everything in you already that you need. Everything that you need to move forward and to live your best life is already in you. Nobody has to fix you, right? You just have to know who you are, whose you are, right? We're all children of God, or whatever God you serve. I want you to know that you are worthy of love. You are worthy of happiness. The shame that you feel, everybody has felt some level of shame about something they've done in their life, but your truth is your truth. And we have to start telling our stories. That is why I'm doing my anthology, because I was that woman too. We've all been there at some point in our life. We all have trauma. We all have stress. We all have things that sometimes that feel insurmountable, that all of the pain is above our head and we feel like we're drowning. But we also know that there is light at the end of the tunnel, that you will make it through. And by you speaking out means that you are doing the right thing to help yourself on that healing journey. Because just like for every person of you that speaks out, there are 100 who don't, who are suffering in silence. And then they think the option is death. because we just keep packing on, and we keep locking away all that hurt and pain, and eventually it comes out. And what I don't want to see is another Black woman who feels like her option is to leave this world, because the world would not be a better place without you in it.
Clack, clack.
I'm gonna clack on myself. Clack on myself. Because we need that, right? We each have a gift. We each have a talent. We each have something that we were brought into this world to share. Now, some of us take a long time to figure out what that is. But your thing is there. There's a reason you are still here. There is something that you are being called to do that you can't see because you're underwater right now. That I need you to figure out, Tanya, how to swim to the surface. And this is Tanya and anybody else who is feeling that way. That is why my whole platform exists. That is why this show exists. And that is why we talk about the topics we talk about. Baby, we've had a lot of crying moments on
Lord have mercy, Jesus. Look, between the two of us, we got 104 years of living experience. Ma'am, we've been through some stuff, we've seen some stuff, and we're going to continue to live and grow. You are not where you are. You are not what happened to you. You are a new creature. You're learning who you are, and you can be great. You are great. You already have every single thing you need at your fingertips. Keep turning on and tapping in Mondays and Thursdays, or reach out to us offline and stuff. Girl, you just need to have somebody in your ear to tell you how freaking amazing you are. Yes. Do you hear me, little girl? Do you hear me? Tap in, turn on if you hear me. Do you hear me, Tanya? You are amazing. Much more greater things you will do. I promise you will. Keep on showing up for yourself.
Yes. And this, let me say this, because you have some self-worth issues that you have to deal with, right? Yeah. So loving yourself, realizing that you are worthy. Let me tell you something about Leanne. Okay. What I'm never going to do is dull my light or feel I'm less than because there's younger women in the chat, in wherever I'm walking into, they're thinner than me. They got hair and I don't. Like, I don't like pick a thing, right? Pick a thing. I will always walk in confidence. That's because right. I know who I am and I know what I can do. And the fact that you felt that you should walk away from a job that you need because they were younger, I get the triggers. Sometimes we got to take a step back, take a deep breath, and analyze why. I practice mindfulness, mindful breathing, mindful, meditation, but being aware of the feelings that I'm feeling and not feeling bad about feeling them. But being aware of what those feelings are at the time, and then trying to recenter myself and say, okay, now how do I present myself the way that I want to in this instance, in this very instance? And it takes courage, right? And like you said, you run when you're stressed. So your stress language, your trauma language is to run, is to escape, is to hide. How do we turn that around so that I'm going to stop, I'm going to reflect, and I'm going to pivot into my love language, into my stress, into my, my work language, whatever you want to call it, right? You have to have that pivot so that you stop running, stop being afraid, stop hiding, because that's what we're doing in this instance. And yes, we got to just keep showing up every time. Every time. So I want to move on and talk about emotional intelligence a little bit. So there are 4 components of emotional intelligence: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management. And I'm going to talk a little bit about each one of those, just give you a brief explanation of them. because I like to make sure y'all know some fancy things like, that I be researching. I just don't want to research and learn all this stuff by myself. So I share it with you guys so that we can all learn. Is self-awareness is recognizing your emotions and their impact on your thoughts and behavior. It involves understanding your strengths and weaknesses and having self-confidence. So that's the first part, is that self-awareness. You have to know you inside and out, right? What are your trauma responses? What are your triggers? What makes you happy? What shuts you down? Can't fight against the things that we don't know. And if we're not self-aware, we're missing a piece of ourselves. And then self-management, that's managing your emotions in healthy ways, taking the initiative, following through on commitments, and adapting to changing circumstances. Because the only constant in life is that it's going to change. That's it. Then you have social awareness, which is understanding the emotions, needs, and concerns of other people, picking up on their emotional cues, feeling comfortable socially, and recognizing the power dynamics in a group or organization. And then relationship management, developing and maintaining good relationships, communicating clearly, inspiring and influencing others, working well with the team, and managing conflict. So when you look at all those things together, that's where you kind of get that your emotional quotient, your emotional intelligence score, whatever they want to call it, right? Because we have to look at all of those pieces. You can't just look at one thing by itself. Oh, I'm self-aware, but I'm not aware of anybody else's emotions and how my actions affect other people, right? They kind of go hand in hand. As I am more self-aware, I have to be aware of those around me. I have to think about and be cognizant of the relationships that I have. And like Sharonda said earlier, if you're around a whole bunch of negative people, what are you going to feel but negative? It's very hard to be the positive person in a group of negative people. If you're too negative, I cannot be around you for long periods of time because I'm an empath and all your negative energy comes shifting to me. And I have to block. I have to block so that you leave feeling great. And now I'm burdened with your trauma and your sadness. So we have to have our own boundaries up too, what we will let into our space and what we don't. I don't let a lot of negativity into my space because negativity is all around us. It's going to be there regardless. We have to choose how we're going to react to it.
That right there. So when I used to work for the Veterans Hospital in the House of Social Work, I was like a receptionist. And during that time, I was studying for my master's. And so my office, they had like a lot of chit chat going on that I didn't want no parts of. So it's like I had like this force field around my desk, and it also mirrored my face. Like, don't come over here with that shit. Do not come over here with that shit. And it was like they like went around me because one, I'm already at work. I'm also able and blessed to be able to do my homework online. So I didn't have time for the BS. I really and truly didn't. And so they just started avoiding me, which was fine with me because I don't need it. I don't need this. And so they just, started treating me differently when I started acting differently. When I did not subscribe to the mess, then it started to be repelled and people stopped coming to my desk with the foolishness. And, I'm like, are you guys 12? Are you really and truly going to be talking about the next person over there behind their back, but you don't have the balls to say it in front of their face? Are you kidding? Don't come over here with that. I'm a full grown ass woman over here on a mission. I got stuff to do. And so they just stopped the boy. When I showed up differently for myself, everybody around me started treating me differently. Yes. And I was very thankful for that. So you got more power than you know, Tanya. I'm here to tell you. I'm here to tell you.
Yeah, definitely.
I agree with that. I agree with people act a certain way sometimes based on the reaction they think they're going to get from you. And that's what feeds them. So if they get the reaction that they want and you keep giving it to them, then they're going to keep behaving in that way. So you have to make a decision. I'm not going to act that way. I'm going to stay true to who I am. I'm going to stay true to what I'm doing. And I'm not going to give them, what they want. And another thing that was talked about is pivoting. And one of the things that I share with the women that I work with, and I talked about on a TEDx talk, you first have to give yourself permission to pivot.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people say, I can't pivot. I'm trying, but you have to sit with yourself and say, I got to give myself permission. I have to say to myself, it is okay. It is okay that people are going to think differently of me if I was going in this direction and now I'm going to go in this direction. It is okay. I'm cool with that. I am giving myself permission to do something different, to change my life and put it on a trajectory that I wanted to be on so I can find happiness. I don't care if you got your doctorate and you taught school for 25 years and now you want to go and bake cakes. So what? Give yourself permission to pivot and go do that.
Oh my God.
Look, I
Your
love that.
blessing is on the outside of your current situation.
That's right.
It's in the veneer is really, really thin. Just poke through and step through that doggone thing.
It often looks really, really big, like it's a very wide, long path. But once you take those few steps, you'll be surprised at how quickly you get there. They're uncomfortable, very uncomfortable. There's just no way around that part of it. You just have to be willing to feel the discomfort. Be self-aware,
It won't last
embrace it,
long.
and just keep taking that one step.
Yes.
Because you
And
know what the vision is.
yeah, it's one foot in front of the other.
It
Like
is.
like Nicole said, is make one change. One thing that you're
You are
going
in control of that.
to from here on out. And that's where it starts. Start by being self-aware. Do an assessment, because when you change and when you stand in that change and when you're authentic and true to that change and who you want to be, people are going to be mad. People are going to be mad that they no longer have the same access to you, but you have to be committed to leaving the old you behind. That means leaving people, leaving places, leaving things, leaving doubt, leaving pain, leaving all that trauma, meaning healing through it, right? You have to be willing to leave things behind to move forward. Everything cannot and should not go with you. So as you change, your circle will naturally change.
Absolutely.
It has no choice but to change with you. When you are ready to step into that new timeline, that new reality that you're building for yourself, like Sharonda said, you just got to poke through that veneer. You just got to poke through and step through, and there is beauty, there is happiness, there is joy on the other side of that pain. Period.
Man.
Start by knowing who you are and who you want to be. If you don't know it, write it down. Who you want to be. How do you think you'll feel when you are that person, this new version of yourself? Leanne 2.0. Right? Leanne 2.0 is happy. She's blah, blah, blah. She's this. Write it out. Make it very plain. There's this one guy following. He said, you have to write down a list of 10 things that you want, where you want to be, 10 things that you want to have in the next, let's say, year. Of those 10 things, you pick one thing that if you could change and snap your fingers and you would have that, what would it be? That is the thing you need to focus on. That is your one change, your one shift. Build that out and start planning that. Because if you start there, you've already picked what is the most important thing to you. And don't pick money. I mean, you can pick money if you want to, but Really focus on what's going to truly make you happy, because money doesn't always equal happiness. There have been plenty of rich people who have committed suicide. That lets you know that money does not solve all the problems. If you solve the other problems, I'm a firm believer that the money will come regardless, because you're walking with a different air, a different confidence, a different version of you. But start with, what is that one thing that you really want to change? And start focusing on that. And start speaking to yourself in love and light and respect.
That part.
Right? And you'll see. And so, Tanya, this is what I want you to do. I want you to head over to Facebook. Well, I already got Tanya's contact information. So we good. We good. But I want to see a love letter, Tanya. I'm not playing with you. I'm not playing with you. Don't make me come after you. I got your number. I could text you.
One thing that I tell my clients is, a lot of times when you are ready for a change in your life and you can just feel it, you don't know exactly what the change is going to be. I tell them, first of all, to start with what they value, because this is another thing we don't talk about. What we value when we were younger tends to come from our family of origin and the people that we are around. When you are 48 years old, like I am, my values at 48 are very different than what my values were at 17. But we have not reevaluated what our values are. And as grown women, we have to do that. And whatever you decide that you value, if you value peace, right? It could be that was not a value in your household when you were growing up, but now you recognize that you value peace. Then you need to do all things that bring peace.
Absolutely.
That means peace. Peace is my value. Peace is my value. So if it doesn't bring me peace, I'm not doing it. It's not around me, because I value that. You have to know what your value is.
Clack.
You can't have the same value system. Your value system is different now than what it was when you were in your mom, your auntie, your grandma's house. And it's okay that you no longer value the things that you were raised valuing, because we are all individuals. And as Black women, I tell people the simple story all the time. When I was a child, I had to wear pantyhose to go to church. I could not go to church if I didn't have tights or pantyhose on. My grandma wasn't having it.
Stop talking about me, Jennifer.
Okay? But guess what I learned when I got older? Pantyhose and tights have nothing to do with praising Jesus. Nothing.
Period.
So you really have to reevaluate what your values are now and stick to them and do all things that support your values.
Amen to that. I love that. I love that. And as we round out the hour, it has been an hour already. It has been an hour already. We done talked through a lot of things.
Oh my God.
I felt the whole shift. I felt the whole shift in the atmosphere today. Tanya, I hope you felt that, because you had so much love and positivity poured into you today, baby. There's a whole world waiting for you to open your eyes and just go get it. It's just waiting for you. It's waiting for you. You have to make that choice of which one you want. Here you ask for help. That's the first step. That's the first step, is asking for help. So you got this. We all got this. And we're building bridges to support one another, to help one another. Because we have to stop looking at other women as competition all the time. Yes. And start realizing that we can support one another, that my light shining does not dim Jennifer's light one bit. Right. They illuminate together. And now we shine brighter together. That's what we have to remember. We're not in competition. Only person I'm in competition with is me. That's it. The only person. And I think once we take some of that pressure off, that helps us to realize where we want to go, who we want to be. And sometimes you have to sit with that, because self-awareness is the first part of that emotional wellness. You have to be aware of you. So let's stop hiding ourselves let's be true and authentic to ourselves. And let's realize that we can have the life that we want. We just have to go get it. And that means you got to travel through some storms sometimes to get to it. But I'd rather travel into that storm because I know my beach vacation is right on the other side of it. Right on the other side. So as we close out, Jennifer, why don't you tell the people any last words and tell people how they can get in contact with you?
What I will say for last words is that really and truly, this is a cliche, but life is what you make it. I mean, it really is. And I say this all the time that if you are in a situation where you are unhappy and you are struggling and you stay in that space, you're either going to have to make a change by force, meaning you'll get physically sick, you'll get mentally sick, or by choice. So
Yes.
why not make the change by choice where you can decide what you want to do? So my website is www.jenniferjdove.com. You can reach me there. I am on all the social media sites at Jennifer J. Dove. You can reach out to me, look at my content, send me a DM. We can talk. It has been more than a pleasure to be here with you, ladies. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And Dr. Perrotte, any final
Thank you.
words of how they can contact you?
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure being here as well and meeting you lovely ladies. In terms of final words, one of the things that I always like to remind myself and my clients, every day you get a chance to start over because it's a journey and you get to be proactive and you get to make a choice and you get to decide where you want to go as opposed to reacting. And so it's a matter of making that decision, being self aware, and simply making that decision to be proactive and carve that life that you want. On LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, my website, www.mind-u.io, where definitely get some content, reach out to me, and I'm happy to help other professional women who are struggling with overwhelm and trying to decide what next for themselves. So how do they find joy again? How do they overcome burnout? How do they actually carve the life that they want as opposed to struggling where they are right now?
Yes. Well, I want to thank you, ladies, for joining us today. You guys are more than welcome to come back. You guys are now officially part of the family. So you are welcome to come back and chat with us anytime, any show. You just let us know when you want to come back and talk to us. And we thank you so much for being here. Sharonda, do you have any final words for the people?
Tax season is upon us. Let me help you get your books together so your CPA don't give you a foe, please. Bookkeepingforlife.com. We're here to help.
And head on over to the Facebook group, Wake Up Happy Sis. Look, you look up Wake Up Happy Sis on any platform, you're going to find me. You're going to find me. But head on over to the Facebook group because what I'm trying to build is that community, a safe space for Black women to grow, to heal, and to connect. Because we need sisterhoods. And we're going to be doing things like traveling, doing little vacation-y things because I'm a traveler. And one of my goals is to help the world, to help us heal, to help us live our best lives. And I think travel helps with that. Being able to experience different cultures, to just see that there's so much more than your neighborhood, than your city, than your state. I know people who've never been out of their own area code, really, right? And there's so much more to the world. You have such a better appreciation for life when you see how beautiful life is in other places, right? And how simple life can be. Life can be beautiful and simple at the same time. And I think we forget that. It doesn't always have to be a struggle. It doesn't always have to be stress. There is beauty, there is harmony, there is balance, there is life on the other side of the pain. We just have to want it. And so, as we close out today, I want to thank y'all for being here. And I want you to have the day that you are meant to have, because you have control over how you respond to all the things that happen to you today. And I want to thank my guests. I want to thank y'all for coming and joining us today. And we'll be back on Monday with another fabulous show. What are we talking about on Monday? Let me see. Monday's show is all about, ooh, this is going to be fun. Relationship rhythms, harmonizing personal and professional love. You know, it's love month. So we got a good show planned for you. So make sure you stay tuned. You can head on over to brownstoneworldwide.com. You can sign up for notifications. You can check out the other shows that are on KCCR Cityscape Radio. And keep it locked and loaded to us, because we're here for you. And with that, I think we're out. We'll see y'all later.
Hugs and kisses, Tanya. You got this, lady.
Yes. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of Wake Up Happy Sis on